So therefore, competitive players are the ones that are online and the ones that engage the most with the community. And you know why I made this channel? To engage with the community. I started this channel because I just wanted to talk about Kill Team. That's it. You know what? Competitive players are talking about Kill Team. Narrative players aren't. And that can only happen with a shared language of rules. We use this game as the framework to bond. That is literally how all of wargaming works. This really sounds like that meme where they're like, only geeks could create a game where charisma is a fantasy statistic. Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today I want to explain to you why you almost never hear me talking about narrative or fluff or any rules like that. I mean, it's a little bit strange, isn't it? Narrative and fluff is the mainstay of every Games Workshop game, so why don't I talk about it? In fact, why don't many people online talk about it? Why does everybody talk about competitive? I mean, really, think about it. How many people actually talk about this is how you run a narrative fluffy campaign? That doesn't really exist, does it? Don't get me wrong, you get things about Warhammer and about miniature gaming that isn't competitive talk, but it's not normally about fluff and narrative. Those do exist. Obviously, I'm not saying they don't exist at all. But I suspect when you're thinking about, oh, what sort of videos do I watch when it comes to Warhammer? Well, you've probably got talking heads, you've got tactics, you've got battle reports, you've got hobby. Now, hobby isn't narrative and fluff. You might mentally view it as the same because you're coming up with chapters or, markings for your squads, and you might think, oh, that's fluffy. But that's not really fluffy narrative when it comes to gameplay. That's not telling you how to run a fluffy game. Tactics channels obviously are not fluffy because they're tactics. Narrative-driven battle reports, I would say, are the most, yes, this is a fluffy thing, and you can directly take inspiration from whatever you see on the tabletop, and you can get invested in the characters and the story there. So that's fluff, of course, sure. And talking head channels aren't fluffy. They might mention it in passing, but they're not teaching you anything. They're not saying, this is how you run a campaign of narrative. They're just saying, oh, I ran a campaign that was narrative, and it was fun. I liked that my model got a name. So what's my stance? Why don't I talk about it? Do I ever play narrative? Do I like narrative? Do I think it's terrible? Good questions, all of which will be answered right after I give you a big, if you're a subscriber to my channel, double hello. Wasn't that wholesome? Wouldn't you like yourself a wholesome double pleasantry in the next video? Well, if you want that yourself, all you have to do is give a like, subscribe, and a comment, and in the next video, that double pleasantry shall be yours, good sir. So why am I always talking about competitive? Well, and okay, I'm not saying that narrative is bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't play narrative. In fact, at me, where I am in my Kill Team journey right now, I think actually I would probably prefer to start playing. The spider's still there. I would probably prefer to start playing narrative more and more, actually, yeah. But I'm not going to. And that's for a few practical reasons. And let me tell you what those are. So the first and most obvious reason is that, frankly, to be entirely honest with you, the competitive community is far, far louder than the narrative community. There's many reasons for this, but to play competitively, you need to know a common set of rules that are widely agreed upon. In narrative, if you're playing with 4 friends, you can do whatever you want. You don't need to know the intricate depths of exactly how the injury roll interacts with a multi-damage, multi-wound, multi-shot weapon. You can just do whatever you want. It doesn't matter if you get the rules exactly correct. You don't need to learn to play against the Tau Enforcer Commander. You can just say, hey guys, I don't have fun when I play against that. Can you please play something else? And if your friends aren't terrible, they'll just say, yeah, okay mate, sorry, I'll play with the Ethereal instead. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. You don't need to have a 20-page rules debate about how do we play this. So these narrative players do not find themselves online. They do not find themselves saying, hey, how do we solve this issue? They just solve the issue. So therefore, competitive players are the ones that are online and the ones that engage the most with the community. And you know why I made this channel? To engage with the community. I started this channel because I just wanted to talk about Kill Team. That's it. You know what? Competitive players are talking about Kill Team. Narrative players aren't. There you go. That's straight up just the biggest reason that I personally don't talk about narrative and fluff. And I suspect that can be extrapolated out for other YouTubers as well. Next up, we have the social aspect. Now again, we're looking at communal rules. If you want to go to your local game store and just make new friends, new opponents, you need to know how everybody plays the game. You can't go up and say, I didn't really pay attention to the points costs, so hey, by the way, my list comes in to 104 points, not 100, that's fine, right? Like, nobody really cares about 4 points. Also, I don't like using tactics, they're too complicated, so I just, I don't use those. But this guy, I've given him a specialism he can't have, because it's just fluffy and makes sense to me. And it's like, yeah, you could do that. If you tell your opponent beforehand, hey, by the way, I don't like playing competitively, I want to have a fun, fluffy narrative game, etc, etc. And it just increases the points at which somebody else can say, that's too much effort, I don't want to play that, because playing with you is playing a whole different game. I don't want to learn a new rule set. I want to play the game that I already know, and just roll some dice, meet a new person, have fun. Unless you are playing with a very accepting group of people, they're not really going to want to learn a whole new rule set just to play against one opponent. They want to be able to play against anyone with the same rule set and just have fun. That's why I play competitive, to meet new people and have fun, because my social life is dead outside of it and I have no friends. So as odd as this might sound, I talk about and play competitive Kill Team because I make more friends that way. Because some of my best games are random people at tournaments that I've never spoken to before or since, and that can only happen with a shared language of rules. We use this game as the framework to bond. That is literally how all of wargaming works. I know that some people think that competitive means trying to win at all costs and screwing over your opponent and winning, but it doesn't. It means making friends. This sounds weird, but honestly, that's what competitive means. And again, to take it back to the original point of this, I'm pretty sure that's why most people play war games. Because it's a nerdy, geeky thing, and they are nerdy, geeky people, but they want to make friends. And how do you do that? You have a shared language, which in this case is a stable rule set. This really sounds like that meme where they're like, only geeks could create a game where charisma is a fantasy statistic, right? Like for D&D. I am not getting laid, ever. And the final reason, which is a little bit more actual, like rules-based than the previous two, where the previous two were literally just, it's a social thing. Honestly, just, I'm creative enough. I've published 4 books, fantasy books. I can make up stories. I don't need help to make up stories. And I also don't find it particularly engaging to tell other people, like, it's like sucking eggs. Is it sucking eggs or sucking lemons? I don't know. But I don't want to explain somebody how a narrative structure works. I don't know. It just doesn't interest me. Like, it's not complicated. Surely everybody knows how narrative arcs work, even when it comes to wargaming. And there are so many instructions already. Just open anything from Games Workshop. I have this right here, the Kill Team Kill Zones book. This is it. Look through all of the missions on this. You don't need to... That's it. I can't come up with anything better than these. They've got funky rules, they've got funky tactics, they've got funky deployments. Like, yeah, there you go. You don't need anything more. That's the problem. Games Workshop, as much crap as we give them, does some really good, interesting things when it comes to narrative games. If you don't care about, like, perfect balance and all that, they're amazing. Why would you ever need anything else? Like, seriously. Games Workshop has narrative covered. We give them crap, but they do really well when it comes to narrative. We don't need a whole community online telling you this is how you do the thing, because that's all in the book. But Games Workshop struggles somewhat when it comes to rules. And so that's why we need the online community saying, this is how the rules work. Anyway, everybody, that's the end of this think piece. A little bit about why I don't really talk about narrative. 1, because I don't need the help. 2, because, bizarrely, narrative, fluffy games get in the way of making friends. If you're a subscriber of the channel and you've made it to the end of the video, I'd like to say thank you very much. Watching to the end of the video genuinely helps my channel. I'm still small, I'm still growing. And if you've made it this far, then I would like to give you a big triple hello. Thank you very much, it genuinely helps. If you want a triple hello in the next video, of course, all you have to do is watch till the end. I often get asked, Glass, if I just skip to the end of the video to get the triple hello, does that count? To which the answer is a firm no, it does not count. That is actually called a fake triple hello, and has the chance of giving you a venereal disease, so do be careful. If you've made it this far, you're obviously not going to click off anytime soon, so a little hobby update for you. My demon team is fully built, just have to spray it. My red paint for my Harlequins has arrived, and I've been thinking about Genestealer cults again. The only reason I haven't put something on the board with them yet is because I don't have any of my models with me, so I can't. Also, on my Discord, I'm doing some sort of kind of like tabletop simulator thing, archival mod thing that's going to be helpful for the Kill Team community. I'll talk more about that in the future when I know what it actually is. Anyway, this has been Glass Half Dead. I hope you've had a good day and continue to have a good day. I cannot wait to get back to real life. I'm going crazy. Goodbye.